What up, Lo? What it do? What the fuck? Turn up! Let's work! Let's get it! Hey! Hey! What to do with the folk, man? You already know what it is, man. It's your boy DT3Z, the Boom Beezy. What to do with the folk? What to do with the business is, man? What's up? Where I buy houses? Y'all holler at D. He got at me. He gave me the info that we know, that nobody else know, that only you and I know. What to do with the folk? What's up, Lo? What to do with the business is, man? What's popping with you? What's going on with the folk, man? I just wanted to hit y'all with a real quick live box talk. 156. Are the networks fed up? Are the networks finally tired of all these bullshit fights? Are they tired of these promoters putting these fights on their network that really ain't worth nothing? That's really not bringing the networks no money? Because these little fights, what's up, Dago? These little fights that they keep putting on, you know, they making it seem like it's a great fight. But then come to find out, they don't do the numbers. It's not the fights that everybody wants to see. And I was on, well, I wasn't on it, but I was watching Unrivaled Box Talking News. Shout out to my boy Unrivaled Box Talking News. What's up, Mark? Was watching his live stream, and he was talking about the upcoming opponents for like Ryan Garcia and all the lightweights and everybody, all the big name guys in boxing. And he said something that made me really think. He was saying how, you know, these networks are kind of getting tired of not putting these best fights on that people want to see. And I think, and Eddie Hearn said it too, I think that these networks is going to start getting at these promoters and start demanding that they make these big name fights, because the bigger the fight that you have on your network, the more viewers you get. And at the end of the day, as my man Myron always say, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. So you think that these networks, knowing the numbers that they could do with these major authentic fights, you think they don't want to do them numbers? You don't think that they want to have those fights on their network. What's up, Marty Machine? You don't think they want to have those fights? So at this point, what's really going on? Because you got Leonard Ellerbe talking about Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia is the biggest fight to be made in boxing. That's why I made that poll last night about what do you think the biggest fight in boxing that could be made. Based on Leonard Ellerbe's logic, it's Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia. And if you don't want to take my word for it, I mean, he just did an interview via Fight Hype. And if you can't take my word for it, take Leonard's.
Ryan Garcia and Javante.
Actually, I did. Actually, I just watched it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It was just good stuff. Good stuff. Again, there's a tremendous buzz about, you know, both guys. Both guys are attractions, big time attractions in the sport. You know, Ryan gets a lot of flack because there's a lot of jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a good young fighter, and he took care of his business. And congrats to him.
Yeah, both of those guys, Tank and Ryan, are going saying, you know, it's next. We're going to do it next. It's going to happen next. You know, I know you're the man that really has a big final say in that. Is that fight going to be next, Leonard?
Well, again, the best way to not get a fight done is to talk about it. See, the difference.
Pause. Did y'all just hear what Leonard Ellerbe said? We're going to dissect this interview. I just want y'all to know that. We're going to dissect this. I need y'all to understand. Leonard Ellerbe just said, now this is a man that's been in boxing for about maybe 15, 20 years of his life. Of his 50 years of living, he's been doing boxing for about 20 some odd years. And I'm sure 15 of them years, strong years, was with Floyd. And the man said the best way to not make a fight happen is to talk about it. Did y'all hear what he just said? The best way. Hold on, let me revamp that.
Saying that, is that fight going to be next, Leonard?
Well, again, the best way to not get a fight done is to talk about it. See, the difference.
Both of those guys. Is that fight going to be next, Leonard?
Well, again, the best way to not get a fight done is to talk about it. See, the difference.
Final say in that. Is that fight going to be next, Leonard?
Well, again, the best way to not get a fight done is to talk about it. See,
I just want y'all to get that clear in y'all minds that Leonard Ellerbe has stated to the public via Fight Hype that the best way for a fight to not happen is to talk about it. So, all of us talking about Crawford and Spence, all of us talking about Canelo and Spence, just like I told y'all, it ain't gonna happen. Leonard Ellerbe just told y'all. So, all the fights y'all talking about, y'all really want to see, based on Leonard Ellerbe, a man that's been in the boxing game a hell of a lot longer than me. He said the best way for a fight to not happen is to talk about it. So, y'all want to see Fury Joshua? Don't talk about it. You want to see Fury Wilder? Don't talk about it. Don't put no buzz on. Don't say nothing about those dudes getting in the ring. Don't say nothing about it. Because the best way for a fight to not happen is to talk about it. Which, Fred, I agree. I think that's a bunch of cockamamie bullshit. Because how did Ryan Garcia even put himself in a position to even remotely be in the same conversation as Tank Davis? This interview that we finna dissect right here, and I'm blessed for all the 9 people that's gonna be up in here and hear this, because y'all really gonna get a treat today. We finna dissect this interview, and y'all finna hear some stuff that I've even said in recent live streams. Pertaining, actually, in the last 2 live streams that I said this, about Tank Davis being an actual 130-pounder He's not a 35. Leonard Ellaby said himself, and you will hear it out his mouth in this stream, that Leonard Ellaby says Tank is a 130-pounder. He's only fought at 35 once. Tank is a 130-pounder. He's not a 35er. Ryan, you a 35er. So at this point, you calling out somebody in a weight division lower than you. You're not calling out somebody that's in your division. You're calling out somebody who is in a weight class below you. So at this point, Ryan, you look like a fucking bully. But luckily, by the grace of God, Tank ain't a motherfucker you could just bully like that. He got some heat for your ass. Period, point blank. Let's carry on.
The difference between Mayweather Promotions, how we operate, unlike a lot of other promoters, they talk about this, the stuff to the fans and to the media. We just do what we need to do and make things happen. So when the right time to
Leonard, you always say don't nothing bother you, right? You know, y'all got y'all money and your fame, so anything somebody say about you hoe ass niggas don't bother y'all, right? Okay, so what the fuck did you make happen? What did you make happen, Leonard? What did you and fucking Floyd really make happen in boxing? What did you make happen? What do you do? Any promoter can put on a fight, bro. Any promoter can put on a fight card. Al Heyman, Eddie Hearn, Bob Arum. Y'all can put on some fights. Y'all got fighters, so it's nothing to make a show. It's nothing to do that. So what fights, what big name fights are you making happen? Really though? What's up, Universal? What's up, Dan? What? Because the fight that people want to see is this one right here. They want to see Spencer Crawford. That's what the fans want to see. That's what the fans willing to pay you niggas to see is Spencer Crawford. But based on your logic, Leonard, because we talking about it, y'all not going to make that shit happen. Because everybody want to see it, y'all not going to make that shit happen. I just want y'all to get a glimpse of the bullshit that's going on in boxing. I want y'all to get a glimpse of that. I need y'all to understand, to all you niggas that keep saying I be hating on people, all that shit, it's a bunch of bullshit. I'm not hating, I'm just telling the truth, and you don't like it. So guess what? Since you don't like me saying the shit, I'm gonna let a motherfucker that's been doing this shit about 15, 20 years tell you the same shit that I've been telling you niggas for the goddamn last, 2-3 years?
Announce Tank's next fight. We'll do that.
Do you feel like that they're both big enough stars that it makes sense to make it happen now with Ryan and Tank?
It's an excellent fight, and actually, in my opinion, it's the biggest fight in boxing.
Wow. Makes sense to make it happen now with Ryan and Tank.
It's an excellent fight, and actually, in my opinion, it's the biggest fight in boxing.
Wow.
Period. It's the biggest fight
now with Ryan and Tank.
It's an excellent fight, and actually, in my opinion, it's the biggest fight in boxing.
Wow.
Period. It's the biggest fight in boxing. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that, but that's my opinion.
Your opinion is shit, Leonard. You just saying that because Tank is your guy. But Tank and Ryan Garcia is not the biggest fight in boxing, and your bald head, greasy ass, bell pepper nose ass know that shit. You know that shit. You know that's not the biggest fight that could be made in boxing. You know that's not the biggest fight that could be made at lightweight. You know that. All y'all care about is the dollar. Y'all will sell your soul. Y'all sell your whole family out for $1. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis is not the biggest fight to be made in boxing. What's up, Jalik? Oh, you finally decided to stop your ass on by. What's up, Jalik? So, what's up, Mad Dog? I missed you. So how is Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis the biggest fight to be made in boxing when you got the likes of, thank you, Alex, let me put that up there. You got the likes of a Joshua Fury. You got Joshua Fury. You got Fury Wilder 3. People still want to, it's a few people I don't want to see the shit, but there's still people that potentially want to see Wilder get his ass beat a third time. For sure, Mad Dog. Miss y'all too, man. I'm here now though. What's up, Martin? Then you got, what else you got? You got Devin Haney, Teofimo. Hell, you got Teofimo Lomachenko too you could make. You don't think people gonna tune in to see Teofimo Lomachenko too? Give me a break. All right, Jalik. I ain't never had you on the panel here, man, so feel free, bro. Don't you come in here with that bullshit, Jalik. You already know what's up over here, but come on in, bro. Just Jalik. I don't see none of my other cats that really rock with me, so unless I see some of my other cats that I rock with, right now I just, Jalik slide on. We're going to dissect this. We're going to dissect this interview. Trust and believe. Yeah, I know. He don't want the rematch, Dan. He don't want the rematch. He don't want the rematch. What'd you say, Jalik? Thank you. Ramirez Taylor at 140 for Undisputed. But based on the politics in boxing, the belts don't mean shit. They just decoration. That's it. These dudes are not, at this point, even Ryan, you ain't even a legacy motherfucker. Because ain't nobody finna be like, oh, you didn't fight Tank Davis. You didn't go down and wait and fight Tank Davis. Who really finna sit there and trip on somebody going down and wait to fight somebody to be great? What's up, Jalik?
DT3, what's poppin', man? Shout out to Oakland. Thanks for having me on, man. I finally caught you, bro. I finally caught you.
Yeah, you finally got me.
Yeah. Shout out to you. Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year to you too, bro. So what you think about Leonard Ellerbe saying that Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis is the biggest fight that could be made in boxing? And what do you think the biggest fight that could be made in boxing right now?
We have to break it down a little bit more now for significance and legacy. Then AJ Wilder, Teofimo, Devin Haney, and Crawford and Spence as far as legacy. But we know boxing is a business, but from a US pay-per-view is definitely the biggest fight. And ain't no fight gonna do more pay-per-views in the US than Tank versus Ryan Garcia. Now worldwide, that's probably gonna be a little different. It could do some things because Ryan Garcia is great at marketing. So it's different avenues the way you're looking at it. So he's not capping actually. And I'm dead serious because I've been saying it, for a minute that this fight is gonna make Canelo give up his Cinco de Mayo. Now, if they fight in May, what fight can Canelo do where people in Vegas or Texas will rather see Canelo fight? It's none. So that goes to show you right there, the fight is actually big. Now, a lot of people don't like it, but I get why people don't like it because, we diehards, and I'm a diehard too. We want to see, the more meaningful fight. So, but you got to give it. It's like, you listen to a lot of music, DT3?
No, I don't keep up with the new music today. I'm an instrumental guy.
You're an instrumental guy, but you know who Justin Bieber is, right?
Yes, sir, I do.
Right. So Ryan Garcia got the Justin Bieber buzz. Now, from the outside, you be like, Justin Bieber is a cornball, but I ain't going front, bro. listen. I ain't going front. I ain't capping for him or nothing. Chance the Rapper. You know who Chance the Rapper is?
Yes, sir, I do.
Chance the Rapper is nice, right? I forget the name of the song on there. Justin Bieber got some fire, bro. He got a couple jaunts. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he like, Justin Timberlake, but he nice, bro.
Got you.
And that's the buzz that he's doing. And I get what's really happening. It's kind of like the YouTuber. So I'm not actually even mad at the fight. We also got to realize when you have a buzz and you bring excitement, because being more exciting than the person doesn't mean that you're actually better. So he's not capping too much, to be really honest with you.
I get what you're saying because of, for one, they got this huge social media following.
Yeah.
That they built. And he also said in his interview that we will get to, where he said because they built this great following, it makes it for a great fight. So my thing was, it's not really to completely shit on Leonard for the interview, because Leonard is a very good politician in boxing.
Yes.
He's very good at really giving you an answer but not answering your question, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah.
That's what politicians do, and the one thing he'll say is when you ask him, well, how do you think so-and-so is going to win the fight? Well, he's going to win. That's all I know.
Yeah.
He's going to end up with his hand. Like, Leonard knows how to really avoid questions when he's asked certain particular questions. Like, if you ask him about the game plan, he ain't going to do that. He's not going to tell you nada. He don't care what the fighter is, what level he is. He ain't going to tell you shit. That I give Leonard. Leonard is loyal to his guy.
He is. And see, I went to the Tank and the Gamboa fight. The whole fight was sold out. He from Baltimore. The whole fight, where the Hawks play was sold out. It's at one small section. And it was like, it was exciting, even though that performance wasn't too great. So I'm just telling you firsthand that Tank is known like that. And then he brings in pop culture, because you know how you look at the old fights with Hagler and Hearns, and they showing the audience like Jack Nicholson to be there, Magic Johnson and stuff like that. So this is what that fight does, and they're going to market it, and it doesn't. They're going to pay money in marketing, but it doesn't require as much money than say another fight, because nowadays guys be on pay-per-view, you can't even get them to talk. They act like they hate the media. That's an actual skill. Once you master it, that can bring you extra dollars. And I know a lot of people was saying Ryan, he trying to be like Muhammad Ali. I mean, that's part of the hype. You know what I'm saying? When he called Tank ugly or whatever, he just hyping it up and using it. So I get what it is. So I see at least 1 million pay-per-views, if not 1.5 million. That's just my prediction. So who's gonna win? That's a whole nother story.
All right. So what do you think about? Now, I ain't gonna lie. I do give him shit for this comment when he said the best way to not make a fight happen is to talk about it. I don't understand the logic.
I actually didn't even hear. This is my first time here. I didn't hear what the whole thing. So
yeah, he literally started. Let me backtrack.
I didn't even hear. So go ahead and play. I didn't even hear what he was saying.
Make things happen. That's how we operate. Unlike a lot of other promoters, they talk about this. The stuff to the fans and to the media.
That really has a big final say in that. Is that fight going to be next, Leonard?
Well, again, the best way to not get a fight done is to talk about it. See, the difference is
that came out of Leonard's mouth. So when everybody keeps saying I be hating when I say shit, I'm not hating. I'm just that's what he said. He's just saying out his own mouth, the best way to not make a fight happen is to talk about it. That fucks me up, Jaleel. What you think about that?
I think he's implying, and I'm not sure, because when it comes to boxing, I'm not on nobody's side. I just see what I feel like is the truth. I think he's implying that when you go on the media and go back and forth, a lot of fights can get destroyed. And I just read today that Ryan Garcia, right before the fight, had got off the phone with Al Heyman. Now, I've had an inclination that they was going to fight, because if you peep game, Jorge Linares was set to fight Javier Fortuna, right, on the zone. Now, Javier Fortuna is with Al Heyman, but Javier Fortuna didn't really make Al Heyman didn't make Javier Fortuna available back then to fight Devin Haney when he first came back from the shoulder surgery. So I already seen what was happening. I could just see that the little small things like that. And I also looked at Ryan Garcia, the fact that what he brings to the table and his risk level is in his high. You know how Floyd is. They always got to be in control. And then also looking at what's his name, Oscar De La Hoya lost Canelo, so he needs something to get his name back into place. He's very vulnerable right now. So that's why I just feel like it's going to happen. And then you just see the fight with Canelo and Smith. They had a little small sample of how they're going to do their pay-per-view. So he's just overall, in my opinion, I think he's just talking about you got to keep your mouth shut, and you got to realize when it's with them, they always have to be in control. Like that's their thing. Remember Floyd, you couldn't announce the fight until he said it. They like control freaks, so they always got to feel like they're in control, even if they not getting most of the money. That's how they operate.
Got you. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Let's get back to this interview. Come on, Leonard.
It's such a small niche of fans, and what happens is one of the main reasons why Floyd has been able to be successful, because we did a lot of grassroots stuff. Everything we did, we thought outside the box. Everything we did, we thought outside the box. Whether it would be handing out flyers, driving 2,000 and 3,000 miles to go to different places, getting out there, shaking hands with the fans. It's doing things a little differently. Oftentimes what happens, what you see in the sport today, and they wonder why that the sport isn't able to grow. And well, I take that back. Why there aren't as many stars, because all these fighters can fight. Mm-hmm. All these fighters can fight. You got a lot of good fighters in the sport. Lots of good fighters. And especially the elite guys. Everybody can fight. Mm-hmm. So what makes you any different from this other guy? And that's why I can appreciate guys like Tang and Ryan. They continually think outside the box. They both are big-time attractions. They both have fan bases. And then that's good. It's great for the sport. And I'm not knocking any other fighter out there saying that they have to do that or whatever. But we're going to do what's best for our guys. Mm-hmm. We're going to always try to put our guys in the best situation to be successful. And it's a different philosophy.
Okay, that line right there, if you know your shit, you got to read between that. We're going to always put our guys in best situations. Like, we ain't gonna put our dudes out there to lose no money. We the money team. Like, you gotta read that. You gotta catch that. It's not a knock on Leonard. It's like with a guy like Leonard, he give you game in little, like, you gotta listen to him when he talk. If you don't listen to him when he talk, you ain't gonna get no game. He that OG you gotta listen to.
Yeah.
You gotta listen to him.
I know you being boxing. I heard that's like a known secret among managers. You never really put your guy in the fight unless they can win, unless it's such a big fight and a certain amount of money. That's why you see a lot of certain things being maneuvered the way they are. So that's why I knew they would take the Ryan, because Ryan's risk level is perceived as being lower. But I know you got your format. I'm curious who you actually think gonna win, because if people sleeping on Justin Bieber, bro, I'm telling y'all, bro, people better stop sleeping on Justin Bieber, bro. And I know he got flaws, but people be like, oh, he took that left hand from Campbell. He can't take that from Tank. Remember, I was at the fight. His power at 135 isn't the same. You also got to take it this. If Tank cannot take those punches that he took from Leo Santa Cruz, former 118 pounder, that he took from Ryan Garcia, so they both can knock each other out. Right now, I think the slight edge to Tank, maybe 52-48, 55-45. It's very close, actually.
Yeah, I said it. I said it could go either way. I said if Tank, because I feel like this is what I do feel. I do feel like Ryan's chin is a little questionable. I do feel like that, but his skill set could be better. I mean, his head movement. I think his punch, the way he put his punches together, I love it. Ryan got that. I don't take nothing away for the way Ryan put his punches together, the way he throw that quick check left hook. I love it. I think it's great. But what I'm afraid of is when he tries to over engage and you counter and he goes straight back, head up. That's where I cringe for Ryan. That's where I worry. And when he sits in front of you with the high guard and he's looking for nothing and he's too flat-footed, and Tank will just sit there and throw wild, crazy uppercuts at odd angles, and I just don't feel like Tank is going to stand there. I think also the footwork might be the difference. I don't think Tank is going to stand directly in front of Ryan the way Luke Campbell did. Luke Campbell could have angled off because his foot was on the outside for a good percentage of the fight, and he never angled off. and you fought a guy in the Lomachenko who was the angle off guru, and yet and still you didn't angle off on this flat-footed guy who you know is flat-footed. And that's where I feel where the skill gap will show is where Tank will utilize his footwork when he can't match Ryan's power punch for punch. And I think where he'll beat him at is with his feet. And I do believe fast feet beat fast hands.
I agree.
So that's where I think Tank has the edge. But if Tank want to sit there and brawl with Ryan,
that's what I'm saying. Yup. So we don't know. And we don't know how it's getting it. And if it gets in the later rounds, he knocked guys out. What is it, 7 round? Tank got some power late too.
Right. But that's the thing though. Has either one of them been late like that though?
I don't.
That's what gets you going.
All homeboy fights is knockout is at 1. He got like almost. Well, he don't got the highest, but he's up there as far as knockout percentage. Only one fight went the distance.
Right, and that was probably what, like 8 rounds, 6 rounds.
Yeah, I know, and you perfectly right, D23, about footwork. Because believe it or not, a lot of Tank's criticism comes because I get the same way too. I get tired of seeing. When I watch like basketball, football, I don't want to see no preseason. I want to see the real deal, highest level competition. So it's frustrating sometimes seeing Tank fight these certain level competition. But if you just look at it from a skill level, he got footwork. His punch placement is nice. He got fast hands, and he actually think in the ring. He actually set his punches up, and he has very good ring generalship. All of his fights, he's the general in the ring. He can cut the ring off. He's a good counter puncher. And he's one of the best body punchers in boxing because not only do he box body punches from the inside, he throw them from long range. So those long range body shots, most people will throw if you're orthodox, you'll show a straight right. He throw a straight left. He got a jab to the body. He got long range left hook, right hooks to the body. So it gets you to the point where you're not sure what he's gonna throw. Now, if he do that with Brian being a quick counter puncher. I don't know. I don't know, bro, because he can get clipped, bro. That's what I'm saying. People going, this fight is closer. Justin Bieber might get him, bro.
I said it's a lot closer than you think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't think that because you see his flaws and all that, you think, oh, Tank is gonna do it. It's like, yeah, but Ryan is still Ryan. Don't think Ryan ain't no punk.
He not though.
He not no punk, bro. I talk my shit, but he ain't no punk. Bring your ass up on here, Deuce. You know what's up.
Shout out to the chat, D23.
Shout out to the chat.
Hey, yo, D23, tell what we was going to debate on. This was like 2019. I forget what it was.
No, we was going to debate on some shit about Wilder and Fury.
Yeah.
And I had forgot all about that shit, tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? Because personally, I feel like that's what I'm saying. Like, for Leonard to say for a fight to not happen, you have to talk about it. And I'm thinking, well, Wilder do more talking about his fights. That's in a little bit. And they huge. Like the Fury Wilder fight, everybody talked about that shit. And it happened. It was huge. Great. One of the biggest fights of the year. And yet and still he says if you don't want to fight the big fight to happen is to talk. I think you know how people say don't talk about it, be about it. I think he will be more business behind the scenes instead of being out front talking like you gonna make it, but you really don't. That's what I got the impression. I don't know. But one thing I can tell you, when I went to the media workout for the Tank fight, he talked real loud. You know, a person that talk real loud so you can hear him. I'm right there, but he extra over talk so you can hear him. He's like, Tank is the big, you know how he does. Tank is the biggest fighter in boxing. He will be the pound per pound. He will be this, and this. And it's crazy. I mean, but you never said what you think of pay-per-view. Like, what fights do you think is bigger as far as pay-per-view in the US? Pay-per-view, what I think is bigger, like if I could pick any fight right now, pay-per-view, Fury and Joshua.
In the US?
In the US?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In the US.
Crawford Spence, bro.
You think? Oh, wow, you think that'll do more pay-per-views than this?
Yeah, because they've been talking about it longer. You got to remember that this fight just now starting to get. Even though, see, we hardcore, Jaleel. You know what I'm saying? So to the casual, they thinking this Ryan and Tank shit is not new. Ryan been calling out since he was 7 fights in. Exactly. But he got a lot of buzz because of Ryan's last win, and then Ryan going on Mike Tyson's hot boxing with Mike Tyson and all that. But the Errol Spence Terrence Crawford has been in the buzz in the media for at least a good year and a half now. Everybody been on that for about a year and a half. So I feel like because of that, it would be bigger. But given what the smoke that Ryan and Tank is getting now, if they had the same amount of traction, yeah, I would say Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis because of the traction and also the following that these guys have.
Yeah,
I don't think Canelo and Benavidez will do good numbers. I fuck Benavidez fat ass. He can't even stay in fucking shape to maintain his belt.
Canelo, see one thing about these guys, man, one thing about Floyd, you know, he wasn't gonna really knock nobody out, but he made you believe that he'll probably knock you out. Now he knocked Ricky Hatton out in 07, and then who else he ain't really knocked nobody else out except
Virgil Ortiz, not Virgil Ortiz, Victor Ortiz.
Victor Ortiz. Yeah, you know he wasn't gonna knock you out, but he made you believe that. Yeah, he just knew how to sell the fight. He knew how to not downplay opponent. It's actual techniques that they actually use to not, you know, to make it believable. It's like it's crazy how they do it, man. It be working. But that Crawford fight, I'm telling you, man, put it like this. It's two fights that can overshadow that and get people to say forget about it. They playing around. Is this fight here in the Tank, the Haney versus Teofimo fight?
Mm-hmm.
You undisputed, and then what it would do, it would send a silent message to boxing that we taking over. It's like you could be a hot rapper, right? And then somebody else come in on a look, not even on a major label and do bigger numbers than you and take all of your buzz. Now you open it up for him on a tour or something like that. It's about energy. So boxing already, we diehards, like we said, but boxing is not really a big sport like that. So its fights is starting to overshadow that. So for them to keep playing around with the Earl Spence and Crawford fight is getting to the point where it's just like
it's laughable.
Yeah, it's like I'm tired of even talking.
I said it. I said I'm not gonna talk about it because I already know it's not gonna happen. Errol Spence told y'all. He told y'all right in front of Terrence Crawford's face. He said it. Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Manny Pacquiao. He ain't mentioned Terrence. No, he ain't saying nothing about no Terrence. This is what he told you.
Yeah, and then Manny Pacquiao said he fighting Conor McGregor. He don't want to fight. Like, come on, but like what's up? Like,
I mean, come on, what that tell you, man? These dudes are not finna fight each other. I'm really was upset that when I saw that I was gonna make a video, but I said I'm not even finna do that on Benavidez because I'm gonna rip his Mexican fat ass up.
Oh, you don't like Benavidez?
I like Benavidez until he got stripped.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And then that's when I was like, bruh. And then you sitting there, you ain't even fought Khalid Plant yet. And now you want to talk about like how you gonna skip over Khalid Plant after you lose your belt and you thinking you gonna possibly get a Canelo fight when you was in the perfect position for it though when you had the belt.
Yeah, he be shooting himself in the foot though. But
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but he got some skills though, and he's great for boxing. And believe it or not, he should be bigger. Well, it's his fault in a sense, but he could definitely, if they marketed him better, he could be bigger than what he is because he's super exciting. He got skills, and you can match him in with different styles, even boxers and different things like that, unless they know something that we don't know. The biggest, toughest fight, which he almost lost, some people say he lost, was with Ronald Gavril, or however you pronounce his name, Floyd fighter.
Yeah, one of Floyd.
But yeah, he's very exciting, but he keeps shooting himself in the foot. He's kind of big, so you see that he doesn't really keep his weight under control. So that's a tough one for him. He's in a very, because if he better not move up to 175 and fight better Biev, bro. Do that, bro.
He got stupid crack in both hands. No,
Yeah,
because I had Gudovich beating better Beef.
Oh, you did? Oh wow, okay, yeah.
When I saw Better Beef put them, I was like, ooh.
Now, I got a question for you, DT3. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Smash the thumbs up. Listen, a lot of people on the internet thinks that Canelo has a chance of beating Better Biev, but Terrence Crawford doesn't have a chance to beat 154 Jamel Charlo. Break that down.
I think. Well, I don't think I even said it. I said it in the video either last year or about a year and a half ago. I said, Canelo, I love you, but you fight Arthur Better Beef, it's gonna be a problem. That motherfucker got crack. And he got and I don't just say because he got cracked. The motherfucker willing to take some shit.
Yeah.
He willing to take some to give some. And that's why your ass didn't stay at light heavyweight, because you're like, hey, look, man, I get old ass Kovalev, but them B-Vols and them better bees, I don't know about them. And they a little bit. Because why you think, because Bivol talking about going down to 68, but yet still, he ain't fought at nobody major at 68. But to answer your question about Jermell and Crawford, I would love to see that fight. I think Crawford, I think it'll go full 12, because I think Jermell, based on what I've seen from him, I think he knows how to use the good ring generalship. He shows dimensions. He's not as one-dimensional as his brother, and I'll explain what I mean when I say one-dimensional for Jamal. Jermell has decent feet. He don't have great feet, but he can move. He ain't finna stand there and let you punch on him. He got a jab, and I'm not talking about the jab he knocked out Rosario, not that. I'm just saying he has a jab. He knows how to utilize the jab. He has good head movement, good waist movement, and he don't waste nothing. That is an attribute I love about fighters that don't waste punches. I've never seen Jermell tired. Never.
His stamina is off the chain. Him and Crawford probably got the best stamina in boxing.
You know, I think it'll be a good fight skill-wise. I think that fight would really show if Crawford really got the pop that he's shown thus far, because people don't. I'm still taking up for Yurokis Gamboa for having one of the greatest hearts and the biggest chins in boxing, because everybody said, well, Devin Haney couldn't knock him out. So what does that tell you? The man fought on a torn Achilles and was getting punched to death by Tank Davis for 12 rounds. He tore his Achilles in the third?
Yeah.
And he fought for what, like 8 more rounds?
Yeah.
Who do you know in the league that's gonna tear their Achilles and fight for 8+ rounds?
Boy, tough, bro. Listen, because they was both. I like Gamboa and Crawford. You know how you got like 2 of your favorites fight, you really don't want them to fight because you don't want.
Yeah.
You still want to see it. I was like, damn. But it was 2 or 3 times almost there. He almost dropped him and stopped Crawford. It was at least a minimum of 2, if not 3, where he buckled him. Actually, the round he got knocked out, he buckled Crawford. Now I know Crawford was having problems making weight or different things like that, and that might have added on to it. But that fight was and he was using his jab. He was real smooth with his jab. He wasn't fighting as erratic that he usually fights. But we'll see, man. It's a lot of fights to be made. I think with stuff going on, I think the like you titled as far as the networks fed up, I think they are, because they should be. They ain't, unless they happy with the results that they get. Now we know Showtime makes their money from Shameless and all they shows on there. They don't really make their money from boxing because boxing ain't big. So I don't know how they get graded like Steven Espinosa, because if I was Steven Espinosa, it's like he give Al Heyman all the leverage. Like, I'm like, bro, you got to put on 50-50 fights or you're not coming on. It's not even negotiable. Like certain fights, certain fights I can't even watch, bro. Like crazy.
Yeah, they're not trying to put on the 50-50 fights no more like they used to. And that was crazy when you were speaking up on back in the 80s and how all the stars that would come out, the Fondas, the Madonnas, you know, the Isaiah Thomases of the time, the young Michael Jordans, you know, when that was popping back in the 80s, the Magic Johnsons, the Larry Birds, you know, the Dr. J's of the world, you know, back in those days. That was when you had, you know, the Hagler Hearns fights. You know, you had the Hearns and Leonard fights. You know, you had the Duran Leonards. You had those big name guys. They were fighting on a consistent basis, and not just once either. They rematching quick, and it was happening at a rapid pace and a consistent pace to where I think that was when boxing was at its heights, because for one, most of those fights was on regular TV. So people got to see these real major fights on regular standard TV, like how we got to see Teofimo and Lomachenko, 2 top name guys fighting on free TV. Thank you, Top Rank. Thank you, Bob. You did something right with your life. Appreciate you. And I think that And it was something that Get the Smoke said that was very profound too. He was like, back in this time when that was normal, that's what happened. You know, we got to see the big guys on Channel 7 and Channel 5 and all that stuff, you know, and they're not doing that no more because everything is a money grab now. And just like what Leonard Ellaby said in this interview, he was saying, like, dude, these dudes all can fight, but these guys don't want to be stars. These guys aren't stars. They're good fighters, but they're not stars.
I mean, it's a balance. I get it. You want to develop it, but you still got to have some ability to have some type of legacy. I get it though. They did. That's one thing about Homeboy. He talk about star too much. Like Tang is a star. Okay, he a star. We get it, but we do want to see him in challenge fights. You get what I'm saying? Okay, yo, star. How much? What's the difference between you having, like what is the extra stardom really bringing you? Like an extra car or what is it? I mean, it's like a lot of that stuff be like fake in a way.
Yeah. Well, let's hear what Leonard got to say some more about this.
Oh, yeah, go ahead and play that, bro. I ain't heard it.
A lot of other promoters and how they run their business and handle their business.
All right, because Ryan will get the flack for the Jake Paul stuff, and it's like, man, but it's getting numbers, it's getting him attention.
Ryan, keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. Right now, he's a bigger attraction than all the other fighters that are out there around his weight class, with the exception of obviously Tang.
Wait, did y'all hear that?
Who did he say? I missed that. He said he a bigger attraction.
Did you hear that?
He's a bigger attraction than all the other fighters that are out there around his weight class, with the exception of obviously Tang.
Ryan Garcia is the biggest name fighter at 35, aside from Tang. Now he gonna contradict himself later in the interview, but he just said it. Ryan Garcia is the biggest name, the biggest fighter at 35.
The attraction,
with the exception of Tang.
Like, let me ask you this: who is the bigger attraction? We're talking attraction, not leg is like skills, and who's a bigger attraction than Ryan at 135?
Teofimo.
You think so?
I think Teofimo.
Okay, so let me ask you this: Tank versus who does more pay-per-views? Tank versus Teofimo or Tank versus Ryan?
Because of the buzz, I would have to say, to be real, I would have to say Tank and Ryan. Because of the buzz, I would have to. That's only right.
You know what I'm saying, it's about the buzz, and Teofimo got a buzz too. But
his name is connected to Lomachenko, though. His name ain't connected to them.
He is exciting too. He is very exciting. But his image is a little different. I would say, remember when Trinidad fought Oscar? Oscar had his buzz, and then Trinidad had his buzz. That's kind of how that is. They both stars, but Homeboy might got the more of the following, in a sense, as far as like he got more of the like the teeny boppers and the ladies and different things like that. And we all know in music, once you get the ladies on your side, then that's when you really can start to control things from a marketing level.
And I said that Ryan bring the girls out, man.
Exactly.
He don't just bring out any girl. He bring out them IG models. He bringing out them thick chicks. He bringing them all out, like females. Like I'm talking about Ryan, only 20-something years old. He bringing out 30, 40-year-old women, cougars. Motherfuckers ain't gave two shits about boxing ever in their life. See Ryan Garcia cute ass, and all of a sudden now they boxing fans. Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, it's kind of Oscar beat. Nah, I you know what? I got programmed. I thought Oscar just won, but I looked at that fight again. Nah, bro. I don't know about that, Jeff. I think Tito, man. I say a draw or Tito won. I watched it without Jim Lampley. They be lying, bro. They lie and program you to make you think Oscar was like doing all this stuff.
And he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Oscar was too worried about that left hook.
I know. Yeah,
he got engaged with Tito like that. He's like, nah, I don't want to get in the trenches with him. I'll get in the trenches with Sugar Shane Mosley, but I ain't getting in the trenches with Tito. Fuck that.
But let me ask you this, DT3. What do you think if the fight gets made Cinco de Mayo? What do you think it'll have as the effect on boxing game as a whole, as far as other big fights being made or other big fights being, overshadowed, or how are other boxers going to respond to it, or are they going to get more hunger to make the fights, or what do you think is going to happen?
I think shout out to all you boxers. If y'all want to really get these fights, y'all got to basically promote yourselves more. You got to be seen more in the public eye. It's not old school no more. You know, you don't get notoriety for beating a man. It ain't one of those, if you want to beat a man, you got to beat the man. If you want to beat a man, all you got to do is have 1 million followers, be seen. You could beat a man and not really have shit. But it's about marketing now, and social media and all that has really taken place of the real pure legacy fights in the sport of boxing. It, like when I said this early in the stream, the belts don't mean shit no more. They don't mean anything. They just decoration, and that makes me upset because it's like that's an accomplishment. That's like saying winning the Super Bowl don't mean nothing. It's all about getting that $100 million contract.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, what's up, Chain with Ice? But I mean, that's how I feel about that. It's like, how are you going to take something? That's like saying Teofimo is the most accomplished fighter at lightweight, but yet and still he's not the most famous. He's not the most known. He's not the most respected. But yet and still he got everything. Devin Haney is a world champion at super lightweight, yet and still he still don't get the respect that he deserves because he don't have the clout and the fame that of a Ryan Garcia or a Tang Davis have. Because it was funny how we talking about Tank and Ryan, but didn't we just hear shortly after Ryan Garcia beat Luke Campbell that the WBC has ordered him to fight Devin Haney? But he talking about Tank.
They're the most lioness, disgusting lion organization I ever seen. They just gonna go with the flow. They just wake up in the morning, look on YouTube, boxing scene, and see what's going on. Then they change their rules instantly and claim they have a meeting. You know damn well they gonna create some WBC diamond belt for that fight. It's too many eyeballs on the fight, and the fighters stupidly take it. You know what I'm saying? They always find their way on there. They had a belt for wasn't a Black Lives Matter belt. I was like, come on, bro. For
Tyson and Roy.
Yeah, they're corny, man. They're not gonna do it. Money. That's one thing. That is true though. Once you bring in a certain amount of money, I mean, it's crazy to say it, but it's just like if you just got a regular 9-to-5 job and you're a sales rep and you got 5 people that work at your company and you sell cars. And you know it's always that one guy that can outsell cars more than anybody. So if your quota is like 20 cars a month, but if you the one guy that sell cars, but you selling 40 and 50 and 60 cars, you best believe that you're going to get away with things that the other people is not going to get away with. I can almost guarantee you. Like you can be late more, you might can not call out. It's just certain things. That's just the way it's sad, but that's just kind of how things are, bro. That's just the way it works when it comes to money.
Same thing I was saying, Loke. Like you saying, it's like having 6 rings in the NBA and it don't mean shit. Like I got 6 championships. So what? And I got $100 million contract, bro. No rings, but I'm eating forever. You can have your rings, bro. I'm paid forever. Like that. It's crazy to me, and that's the way the game has transcended to where it's like it's not about wanting to win belts and actually accomplish something. Because I mean, even Terrence Crawford said it. If he were to retire right now, he's a Hall of Famer. Why? Because he's a 3-division world champion, former undisputed 2-time lineal. There's not a lot of people in the sport of boxing that have that. The only person that you could actually measure up, realistically, I would say Manny Pacquiao. As far as just accolades, we ain't talking about just full body work. We just saying accolades, titles, accomplishments. The belts are an accomplishment. So if now you're making it to where winning the belts are not an accomplishment, it's really about how much money you can make or how much revenue you could bring into these networks, then what is the purpose of it? Because at this point, all the WBC is doing is just getting a bunch of sanctioning fees. They just getting that extra little loot on the side.
Yeah,
that's all they're doing. You know what I mean? Because and what people don't realize, some of you casuals, for every belt there is a sanctioning fee.
Mm-hmm.
You got to come out of pocket. So when you see those diamond, the money, the interim, all that shit, that's a check. They cashed out for that. They had to pay for that.
Yeah, and that's a lot of bread, and that's not including all the taxes and your manager. So
man,
I forget who it was. They done a video. It said if you make $1 million, how much you really bring home? It's not as much as people make it seem. That's why I'm glad Teofimo stood up to Bob Arum, because as bad as I wanted to see that Lomachenko fight, I didn't want him to just give in to Bob Arum. But Bob Arum has a way of manipulating the press to make it seem like Teofimo was being greedy as to Bob, whatever he was talking about. I'm glad he stood his ground and got some extra money. And we all know that's a lie. Lomachenko didn't give him the money. That was some stuff they be just putting out there. They just try to make Teofimo look bad. So that's why when you speak of Teofimo, if you look at it, Teofimo basically does all his promoting on his own. Like, I don't really see Top Rank doing anything. Now, Top Rank, we have to give them credit for something. They are probably the best matchmakers in boxing. They know how to do that. But other than that, like, Teofimo is doing that from the muscle, so
Bob only wants to promote his top dudes, you know what I mean? Like the Lomachenkos, and when he had Manny Pacquiao. And that made me upset because you had Terrence Crawford, Bob. You had Terrence Crawford, who it became a pound for pound guy under your stable, and yet and still you didn't want to promote him. And now you complaining about him not being outspoken. He not being this. Bob, he been that the whole time you've been fucking with him. So don't act brand new like he just became this quiet dude that don't talk shit on the internet all of a sudden. You Bob Arum. You got more resources. You got more connections. You know how to promote a guy like that. Oscar De La Hoya was not the loudest motherfucker in the room by any means. But for some strange reason, he was one of the most known guys out. Basically, yeah, he did win the Olympics, and I get all that. But hell, every time he fought, it was like an event. It was big. Why? Mm-hmm. Because your ass was pushing it.
Yep.
You were pushing the shit out of Oscar.
Yup, he had the golden boy, he had the little image or whatever. Yup, he was doing
that. Fuck you too, Floyd Mayweather.
Yep. And said, Floyd was like, yep.
And that's Floyd was your guy.
But Teofimo was very marketable. I like his. First of all, he exciting. He very exciting in the ring. He's good in his ring. He has his value. His dad be talking trash, but that's like makes it a heel. So that's more way to market him. It's a lot of things that he does, and if you listen to him, he's mature. He says the right things. He made a comment one time about how fighters lose and they always want to blame their trainer. He's like, no, it's you. So it's a little things like that, and he's just cool. But we'll see how that's gonna work, because I think I read earlier today that the IBF has already stated that he has to fight Kambosos. So let's see what's going on with that.
Yeah, I was looking at the rankings for that, and I was just like, it's crazy that the rankings is the way that they are. Hold on, let me go to it. I'm gonna check it out right now, because I was looking at the rankings for all these freaking sanctioning bodies. Boy, we got the lightweights here. Okay, look, I think we gonna see Lomachenko get that fight. Ryan Garcia is number 1 in the WBO, but Vasily is number 2. Do you think the WBO is going to put Ryan over Vasily Lomachenko? Really?
Yeah, I think Teofimo, he probably fight Kambosos and Haney and just move up to 140, because Kambosos, he gonna fight him next, because the IBF gonna strip you. It ain't no.
Yeah, IBF will strip you quick. They don't give a fuck.
Right. And to be honest with you, that's like a tune-up fight. I seen dude fight Kambosos, and then the fight is gonna be in there. So that's like a tune-up fight. He fight is mandatory, okay. Unless Lou DiBella can get involved, and if Devin Haney, they can all work something out, because I think Lou DiBella is cool with Eddie Hearn. They might can do it where they actually fight next, because that $10 million keep decreasing every day. 1 minute is 10, 1 minute is this, and this. You know what I mean? So we'll see what's up with that.
Mm-hmm.
If that happens.
Let's get back to this interview.
Oh yeah.
I totally hear you, Leonard. Can't get ahead of yourself, but I gotta bite into the thought of that fight for just a minute. Ryan's tall, he's fast, got some height on Tank, but Tank's slick and powerful, and how would that fight, just to think about it for a second, what are your thoughts on that fight? It's got to end in a knockout.
I really haven't put any thought into that. Again, it's like I don't want.
Well, the fans are.
Yeah, again, I don't want. The best way to not make a fight is to talk about it. There's nothing to talk about.
Mm-hmm. But I also seen you tweet with Kevin Iole saying, a few things among, well, why can't Teofimo Lopez fight Devin Haney if that's the case? If you got to fight,
with all due respect to Kevin. I mean, I just only commented on this story that because he was making mention to that both of the guys have a willingness to fight anybody. Mm-hmm. Well, Tank does too. But we just don't run and be crash dummies. That's just something we don't do. We have.
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all catch that?
The way he talk, I can see how I get on people's nerves. It's like I don't even know the definition of how he talk. It's just kind of weird. Like it's like he be double, triple talking. But it's just.
You gotta catch Leonard, man. I mean, Leonard, he'll piss you off sometimes, but at the same time, Leonard know the game.
He do know the game, though.
He know the game. He been doing it too long. So at first, I used to those little comments used to go over my head. I ain't gonna flex.
Yeah.
That shit used to go right over my head, and then I just started to really listen to people when they talk, and I just started listening. It's like, that nigga Leonard be giving you game on the under. If you listen to him. He really will give you some game. You might not like some of the shit he say, but he letting you know, like, look, man, we ain't no crash test dummies. We ain't finna just take no fight because. But it goes to what you said, Jalik, and I said it too. PBC guys gotta be in control. They have to be in control. If they don't control the situation, the narrative of what's going on, they probably not gonna take the fight. They gotta be the A side. They got to get the most money. They got to maximize the dollar. If they're not getting that, it's all bad. What's up, Tobe? So that's crazy. That's crazy.
A great team. And we move differently. We don't sit there and tell everybody, what our next move is. We know what's going on. We see what the landscape is. So, again, why not fight Devin Haney? Why not fight Devin Haney? Devin's a tremendous young fighter.
Is there any reason not to do Tank Davis, Devin Haney as well? Or
we have no problems with fighting anybody. It just has to make sense.
So, Jalik, what is it? What do you mean when you say explain to the folk? It gotta make sense, Jalik. So, what do you mean? It gotta make sense.
He talking about money. And Ryan Garcia makes more sense business-wise based on the risk versus the reward because Tank is their franchise. If you think about it, Tank is the three biggest guys on PBC. You got Wilder, Errol, and Tank. So, and to be honest with you, Tank Davis, see, in order to be a pay-per-view star, I hate to keep going back to it, but everybody know Roy Jones is a better fighter than Oscar, but why is it that Oscar was getting the fights? Because there was more opponents. So it's not music where you can just go on stage. You actually have to have the opponents. Now, if you break down the opponents that Tank faces, that means that he can be in more bigger pay-per-view fights right now than Errol Spence. Now, Wilder, is he going to recover from that knockdown? So technically, you can almost say that he's the biggest franchise on PBC. So they're not going to put him in a fight where they think they can lose. Now, I heard Haney's contract is coming up. That might be a different story because if he signed with Hal Heyman, then things change. You know what I mean? Because Devin Haney possibly could do that. I don't know what Bill's going to do or what Bill's going to do, but but he's basically telling you what it is. I mean, they basically saying he always in control no matter what, and he always the A side, and you're just gonna have to do it on his terms. Basically, that's basically what he's saying. I think you're on mute, DT3. While you're on mute, smash the thumbs up.
Do you think De La Hoya wants to put his fighter in there at 22 against Tank?
I can't speak for Oscar, but Ryan Garcia, he's a boss. He's a boss, and he's let the world know He wants to fight Gervonta Davis next. So that's what Ryan Garcia says. You know, if there's a disagreement with that, that's none of my business. I'm just only reiterating what the fighter said. You know, and he said it to the entire world. You know, I don't know what Oscar's thinking, what he wants to do. That's none of my business.
Did he look ready against Luke Campbell to you for that level?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Again, Ryan Garcia can fight his ass off. He can fight. I mean, people make mention because he's done they say, oh, he's a social media sensation. No, he's just done a good ass job with figuring this shit out and knowing how to think outside the box. Give him credit. Give credit where credit is due. That's all he's done. While, again, I'm not criticizing other fighters, but again, he's figured this shit out. He's figured it out. How to generate revenue outside of the sport and to how to make himself a bigger attraction. He's figured it out.
But when you
bigger attraction, not a better boxer, not a better fighter, but an attraction. I'm learning more of the politics of this shit, Jaleel. It's not always about beating the best guy. Sometimes it's an attraction.
Hey, he used a psychological technique where he used positive reinforcement to enforce that Ryan was the boss, to so that way Ryan can feel empowered to continue to do what he's doing instead of feeling like he has to go through Oscar. So now if the fight doesn't happen, it's Oscar's fault instead of Ryan Garcia. He made him feel like, yeah, you're the boss. And Ryan is going, because Ryan already thinks like that. This been going on for a long time. Ryan been saying that. People are surprised that it's happened. I'm not surprised because he been saying he wanted Tang. So now he feel like I'm gonna do everything in my power. And remember he used to go to Floyd Mayweather's birthday parties, and then said something is gonna be. It was always this back and forth thing. So he's been working on this for years. Like, so he gets it, and I don't know if he has anybody else on his team. I'm sure he does. I just don't know. I think it's the lawyer guy that be translating for him. But one thing that Ellaby does, he always does his best not to downplay nobody and hate on nobody too. That's another technique that works. So he's not really coming across as a hater. It's just that he's there. It's just little things that he do, and I've been noticed that Floyd been doing that, and it actually works because one thing they're never going to look, and they could be super thirsty right now because we gotta see. They gotta be careful too, though. DT3, because just say for instance, I hate the pocket watch, right? Say they're giving Ryan Garcia a minimum of 10 million with a pay-per-view upside. But what if word gets around and they slip up and the zone offers him 20 million without no upside, no matter what, to fight Devin Haney? You get what I'm saying? So they're even if they super desperate, they're never going to appear that they're desperate. But Homeboy is the front runner to fight all of them. That's why everybody was waiting for last Saturday to see what he was going to do, because even Bob Arum mentioned that they was looking at Ryan Garcia. So he has leverage without having a belt. So they have to be real careful, even themselves, because the zone can come in with the bag. You know what I mean? And say, hey,
will give you that bag, man.
Exactly. So even Al Heyman still has to be careful because Eddie Hearn, you know, he a double agent. He works for the Zone and he also works for Matchroom. So Oscar is real vulnerable right now too. So does Oscar let his resentments towards Al Heyman get in the way, or he does business? So it's a real tricky situation and different things going on behind the scenes while they're trying to make the fight. So it's going to be real interesting to see how it all plays out.
It's something that you said that really just hit me because I didn't think of that. The Zone will send you some shit. Like if they see, okay, you gonna send them what? You gonna send them 10? All right, we'll give them 20.
It's just like imagine, DT3. Imagine LeBron James if he was gonna go to college, right? every college in the whole thing wanted him. So he can say, and they get paid under the table. So he can say, nah, that's not enough. I want a house for my mom. I want a house for my dad. I want all these different things. And it just keeps going. And Ryan Garcia is smart. He can use all the other people to compete against him to increase his value. That's how negotiations work. So that's why he's in a real good situation where that's why Oscar came out and said, no, we're the A side. Because he letting people know that, hey, you're not going to just give me any amount of deal. So you're going to have to come correct with Ryan Garcia, because he can say, all right, you're not offering me what I want. I just go fight Devin Haney and get the belt. And then I just go fight Teofimo and get more money. So they got to be careful too.
Agreed.
You saw the speed and the skills against Luke. You said, oh, yeah, he's ready for anybody.
I've been knew he could fight.
Before that fight.
I've been knew he could fight. People just want to criticize other fighters because they always when you have certain things that you do really well, people always want to criticize you. I mean, look, they criticize Tang. One of the things they say, oh, well, Tang ain't fought nobody. Stop it. Just stop it. And see, boxing is bigger than the fans. You have diehard boxing fans, and then you have people who are fans of the sport.
They just like a good fight.
They like a good fight. They like a good fight. And one thing Tank has been able to do, he's been able to put asses in those seats. Okay? The media.
You want to touch on that, Jalik, or you want me to keep going?
I keep going. It's interesting. Like, I didn't even know it was up there.
Criticize, because a lot of it is just that people move a little differently. People move a little differently, and that's what it is. And but criticism, that's part of being on top. I mean, I personally heard it for 20-some years. They're still criticizing Floyd Mayweather to this day. There's still fans out there saying, well, he didn't fight this guy in his prime. He didn't do this and he didn't do that. And all he did was protect his own. And it's all bullshit. All I've ever seen that guy come in this gym and other gyms and bust his ass 2 and 3 times in a day. Run. Go to the fitness gym. That's all I've ever seen.
So you don't want to hear about, well, Ryan was too young or he's too green if that fight happens.
Man, again.
Or they're going to say what they're going to say.
Criticism comes with being on top. So I don't even hear the shit. You know what I mean? It's like I don't pay it no attention. I really don't. And that's one of the things actually that I learned from Floyd. Many, many, many years ago. He always used to tell me. Because I did used to get worked up. Many, many years ago. He said, man, don't pay no attention to none of that shit. Them people gonna talk about us.
It doesn't even get you mad.
At all.
What's up, Jalik? Touch on it.
One thing I noticed about Ryan, like, he never really, for him to get as much attention, he got to be so young, he never really be too angry at the media too. So you can see that his skin is kind of thick though. And that's a skill all within itself. And that's what they break it down right there. Because if you get hot-headed and start fighting with the media, you got to get it to the point where you control the media and you don't let the media control you. You know what I mean? So Ryan is actually good at that. It's classes you can actually take. Most of the fighters don't take it, but some people is taught and some people just naturally know how to do it. But Ryan Garcia, he know how to deal with the media, bro.
Yeah, he do.
Training, that's a skill.
At all. Listen, I can't even hear it.
Are you ever so cool with it that you're not even mad at the guy? It's just like, oh, really? That's how you feel? Okay.
Right, because what I've learned, especially as I gotten older, maybe 15 years ago that might have worked. But everyone's entitled to their opinion. And guess what? I respect any and everyone's opinion.
But it's success that ultimately makes you feel better, right? That helps you tune out those people? Or
well, no. I mean, that's part of it, but being confident in who you are and what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And having a mutual respect for what people do. You know what I mean? It's like I respect every fighter who gets in there and because they're putting their life on the line each and every time they step up in there. I respect all the promoters and the managers and everybody's on everybody's team because it's all talk. Because the two guys or the two ladies, they got to get in the ring and they're the ones that's going to determine the outcome. Mm-hmm. Everything else is just this. You know what I'm saying? So it don't matter what they say. And criticism is part of life. It's part of life. And once you have an understanding of that, then you're much better off. Yeah, I don't really care what people say.
It seems like it's hard to find that median, though, where you don't just block out all criticism. Where you still tell yourself, okay, yeah, I needed to work on that, but at the same time, don't listen to all the other shit people say.
Now, you still gonna check people. Uh-huh. Still gonna check people, but as far as how it affects you and how you go about your business and whether you give it, any more thought, other than just have that at that particular time. No, it's like we can't even hear you. I talk to the same people every day about business. And not one conversation is about, oh, did you hear about something that Aaron said or this guy or Hearn or this guy or this manager or this fighter? No. We making moves. We grinding.
Well, Leonard, that's all I got for you today. I can't wait to see January 23rd. Just a tremendous fight. Two guys in their prime, two undefeated. As good a style matchup as you could get, wouldn't you say?
Oh, my God. This is that right there. That's going to be a very, very entertaining fight. And props to Showtime and Steven Espinosa for making it happen. Again, it's a tremendous fight between two young fighters in their prime. Stephen Fulton's talked a lot of trash. Angelo Leo, he just goes about his business, and he's a hard worker. And again, I'm very, very confident that at the end of the night, on the 23rd, the Angelo Leo hand will be raised, and he'll still be world champion.
And what kind of time window can we expect to maybe get an announcement on Gervonta's next fight?
Don't know. Me and Al, we're talking about it, and Floyd, we're talking about it. But one thing we do know, Tank's next fight will be in front of fans. He is a big time attraction, and that's what his fans do deserve. Unfortunately, we are in this pandemic now where, in our last fight, we had limited fans. They still came out to support, but, Tank's fights are events, so it takes away from that. Yes, you were able to give the fans, something, during this pandemic, and obviously keeping the fighters busy. But in this particular case, to be able to maximize every bit of revenue in Tank's case, he's got to fight in front of his fans. Mm-hmm. And he's proven that anywhere he goes that he's a major attraction.
Well, you made it a point to say, despite all the great performances lately, he's the top attraction in the lightweight division.
And junior lightweight, both divisions. I mean, the numbers don't lie. Men and women can lie, but the numbers don't lie.
Could you rank Tank being one?
No, I don't want to get. Brian Garcia is definitely number 2. So you got 1 and 2 right there. I don't want to get into all of the guys. Haney can fight his ass off. Lopez can fight his ass off, and you have a number of other guys who are right there that can fight too. Mm-hmm. It's been a lot of noise made it about those 4 guys, but there's a lot of guys around 30 and 35. And oh, by the way, Tank's only had 1 fight at 35. Mm-hmm. But let's not forget that. But there's a lot of guys around 30 and 35. And oh, by the way, Tank's only had 1 fight at 35. Mm-hmm. But let's not forget that. So a lot of guys around 30 and 35. And oh, by the way, Tank's only had 1 fight at 35. Mm-hmm. But let's not forget that. So when it comes to 35, Tank's going to decide we're going to make the biggest fights possible that we can at 35. But Tank's a 30-pounder.
You think we get one of them? All of them are big, but
I'm done.
Yeah.
Don't ask me no questions. Don't say shit. Because I told y'all that Tank is a 30-pounder. He's not a 35er.
Yeah.
Leonard Ellaby just told you, if Tank fights at 35, it's only going to be for big-time opposition. What's up, Source?
Yo, DT3, what's good with you, man?
Nothing much. We just cooking on Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia, and also about these networks and how a lot of these the networks are kind of getting fed up with these low budget fights, and they're not getting the big payouts that they feel that they should get because they're not putting on the big fights. And do you think that these networks are going to start putting their foot on these promoters' necks and saying that we need to get these 50-50 fights so we can get these big payouts?
Well, if that's the case, it's probably, about time, or at least some fans would kind of think like that, because, the way that it works mostly is that the promoters, make up the fights and then present them to the networks for the networks to accept. And, once the networks accept it, then it's basically, on them and the promoter to sell those fights or to sell those fight cards. So if the fans aren't watching those fights, then the bag is basically held by the networks, because the networks already paid out the guarantees to the promoters and to the fighter. So if the networks are like, hey, we need more out of this, then it should be about time for them, because that's mainly why HBO kind of dropped boxing, because those promoters ain't putting up the fights where people will really be interested in watching them. So they're like, I can get more money off of this time slot on a Saturday night, putting up reruns of freaking Game of Thrones or something like that. So why would I give y'all this time slot, continue to give them this time slot, if I'm not getting good returns off it,
Right.
So, yeah, it just gives the promoters a message to step their game up, man, because y'all got to put up some, better fights, man.
Jalik, what do you think about what you just heard, Leonard? Now, that was the whole interview. So basically, hearing the interview, what is your take on this now?
The fight is going to do big. It's big because I've been saying it probably for almost a year. I always thought that this fight was going to be, I said, no later than 2022, based on the buzz around Ryan Garcia, and people laughed at me. I say he's going to take Canelo's Cinco de Mayo and September dates. Now we see the fight that's out here, and I don't think nobody can name a fight that's on pay-per-view that outshine this fight. So, and we all know it's a business. I'm not saying Ryan Garcia better. We all know Canelo one of the best. Some people got him as pound for pound, but it is a certain buzz that you got to have in order to make those fights. So, it sounds like the fight is there and they just working behind the scenes, but they're the king of non-disclosure agreements. I'm surprised homeboy mentioned that he talked to Al Heyman, to Chris Mannix, Ryan Garcia. I'm surprised he actually even said that, but they probably gonna tell him, bro, you gotta chill, because whatchamacallit is he's used to it. Oscar is used to it, but Ryan is so young and excited. You know how you young, you just don't know, and he start to talk. You know what I mean? So they probably tell him, chill, bro. It's NDA agreements. You don't want to say too much because it's all about chess. Like I said, you don't want to slip up and say something, especially nowadays. People that be on the internet, we listen to everything you say, everything. So use that against them, or people use that for you. So they're being very calculated. Even that thing with Mike Tyson and Ellie Setback, Ellie Setback had to wait until Tyson put it out before he put out all his extra, because Ellie Setback was the one that said that set the call up. And I had seen prior to this happening, they was already talking for the fight to happen in December. So it's been worked on. Like I said, if you see Al Heyman work with Golden Boy to make Jorge Linares and Javier Fortuna, now just so magic, another fight is coming up. Maurice Hooker and Virgil Ortiz. So they're already doing things behind the scene to make it happen. So Maurice Hooker is with Al Heyman now, and then Virgil Ortiz is with Oscar. So That's how they doing business.
So what? Hey, Source. So what do you think about Leonard Ellaby coming forth and stating, without no questions, that Tank is a 130 pounder? He's
Actually, I'm kind of surprised that he said that. But that's coming from me personally, where initially, like where you had the fight last year for Tank versus Santa Cruz. Initially when that fight was announced and they put it at 130 pounds, I thought, is Tank gonna really make 130 pounds? And I mean, he was able to make it, but the way that his body is built, I just don't feel like he could really, stay there at 130, from a weight perspective. But from even a marketing perspective, like what options does Tank really have at 130 pounds to campaign at 130? Most of the best fights that could be made are at 135 pounds. At 130, you really don't have that many options, at least within, like, say, Heyman Boxing or whatever it is, for
Shakur.
him to like make a fight that could be big enough for people to be interested in. Because once Ellaby made that step to really commit to Tank for him to be, I guess, one of the stars there, then you can't really go back on that. So if you're going to put him on pay-per-view against the Leo Santa Cruz and then say he's going to still be at 130 pounds, who else is he going to go up against at 130?
The only fights at 130 is the biggest fights at 130 would be him versus Shakur. That'd be a big fight. Him versus Shakur and him versus Gary Russell. I think he had knocked Gary Russell out, but Shakur.
Yeah, they said, isn't he supposed to fight Gary Russell next anyway? Not to cut you off, Julie. Ain't he supposed to fight Gary Russell next?
If he's gonna fight right now, negative. Why would they put that risk? They just gonna fight another tune-up. Why would you? That wouldn't be smart business. If you're gonna do this big pay-per-view and then Gary Russell, I don't see that happening. But I did see Gary Russell on Fight Hype. I don't know because that'd be big for DC versus Baltimore. I've been wanting to see that fight. I wanted to see that more than the Leo Santa Cruz fight. But
right.
I think they'll put that risk. That's kind of not. That's not. That's like, yeah. That's just not smart. That's like Earl Spence and Crawford about the fight, and then they take their fight before they fight each other. They fight Boots Ennis or Virgil Ortiz. That's not smart, bro. That's not good. That's not smart.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, I've spoke with Gary multiple times, and he's definitely said that he wants Tank. And this is before his interview where he was on, what was that thing with Brian Custer? Like he was talking about the three fighters they wanted to face, and Tank was number one. But I mean, we kind of like said that would be the fight that could really do something here in the DC area. Probably wouldn't be held in DC though. Is the whole thing with the shutdown and lockdown and all that stuff. But Tang versus Gary Russell would really be a good fight there at 130 pounds, but I just don't see Leonard Ellaby putting Tank in that particular position. I just don't see it.
More, yeah, because of the value. We diehards definitely want to see that. Now, a fight that I would love to see is Shakur versus Gary Russell as well, because Gary Russell's saying everybody ducking him. I doubt if Shakur ducking. So maybe he can fight Shakur.
He wouldn't mind fighting Shakur. You said that Shakur to him is like the only fighter out there that would welcome fighting Gary Russell Jr. if it was offered to him. He said that Shakur would really be the one or the only one that would step up to fight him. So so that would be something there. They're both around the area, with Gary being in the DC or Capitol Heights and Shakur being in Alexandria. So that would be a pretty good little matchup too, if they can make that.
Right, because a lot of people saying that's 50-50, and it's Gary Russell's chance of having a name and get over the hump and not fighting each other. And then they both That would be both great for each other. I would rather see that than Gary Russell versus Devin Haney at 135. That's a hell of a fight. That's something I would go through.
Yeah, I'm not really interested in seeing Gary Russell fighting Devin at 35. That's not something.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. Yeah, I don't want to see
like. Hey, that's a big like. I'd rather see Gary fight Tank or Gary fight Shakur Stevenson. And Shakur Stevenson is somebody who is not spoken upon enough. And it's also because of, he's not out talking. He don't talk a lot. He's not on social media too much. He do pop on there here or there, but he's not much of a talker. He's more of a doer. Hence of, you got to think of the company that he keep. He's being worked with the likes of Andre Ward and Terrence Crawford, two guys who are not mouthy guys that he's getting tutelage from. So you can't expect him to do something that is not the company that he keep. So,
well, I mean, I feel like people see the talent within Shakur Stevenson, but the people that he's under now are kind of, keeping him in check because you remember he did have that little incident. What was that, in the gas station or whatnot? Yeah. So they gotta keep him clean and keep him on the level as long as they can. I mean, but he does talk with the other fighters out there. He's talked with Tank and whatnot. So he'll be, basically in the mix. He's just, had his plans kind of like laid out as far as like what he wants to do at 130 pounds, at least for this year. So
he got. Did y'all hear what did you hear him on Twitter? You hear what Buddy McGirt said about him?
No, I'm in Twitter jail.
He mad at Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt said, "No disrespect." It's on YouTube. He said, "No disrespect. I love Shakur Stevenson, but Shakur Stevenson is protected. And if he fight Teofimo Lopez, I knock him out within 6 rounds." I said, "Wow!" And Shakur didn't like that one bit. So if you go to Shakur Twitter, he hot at Buddy McGirt right now, bro.
Oh, I feel you. Because even before that.
Yeah,
they were kind of like talking about, like Shakur was talking about, they want to talk about these 4 guys, but they don't want to include me in the conversation. So he's kind of like, saying like, yo, look at me. I'm here too. I mean, even though I am at 135 or whatnot, hey, I could make some noise myself. So
yeah, because
I see him being upset.
He like tall. He tall. He's a big 130 guy. So he fit right in, to be honest with you. He fit right in, but I gotta see him because he didn't really do too many names at 126. Now, if he beat Miguel Burchett, Gary Russell, and they probably gonna put him in with Lomachenko. Then but if he decided to move up, I'm for it because the dude got some hands, bro. His defense, he probably got do y'all think he got the best defense in boxing? His defense is on point.
Well, I mean, that, remains to be seen. Like, when it was at 126, he was trying to get that fight with Valdez. And by the time he got to that point, Valdez said, nah, I ain't going to do it. I'm going to move up to 130. And so with that being said, like, Stevenson got the WBO belt at 126 and didn't even defend the belt at 126 to go right up to 130. So he wants to make noise at 130. He wants the winner of Herring versus Frampton whenever they're going to announce that fight, because they still haven't announced it yet as far as I know. And then after that, he wants the winner of Burchell versus Valdez. So he wants to get the top guys there at 130 this year.
Will he get them is the question. But I think it's easier to get a fight with the top guys on the zone and top guys with PBC, because all Eddie Hearn care about is putting the fights together. But PBC, they gotta have it. It gotta make sense for them. It gotta make sense for them. If you're not a big name, big money, it's the same thing I said when I learned about why Floyd fought Ricky Hatton. I don't think Floyd fought Ricky Hatton because Ricky Hatton was good. I think he fought Ricky Hatton because Ricky Hatton was selling out arenas over in the UK, and he was bringing a lot of buzz and he was filling up seats, and he knew people would come see him. If you would look at what Floyd said to him after the fight, he was smiling because he was looking like, bruh, look at all they still scroll, ole, 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 ole. You know, they just
only one Ricky
like it didn't matter win, lose, or draw. There's only one Ricky Hatton. You know, so I mean, when you see that, I think, like I said, in a lot of these fighters that are calling out top guys and all that shit, it's like, dude, if you want to get that fight, if you want the Canelo fight, you got to fight a Callum Smith before he fought Callum Smith. You got to fight that guy, you know, and these fighters are at this point, they just clout chasing, in my opinion. I think now I got to get on Jamal because I feel like he clout chasing because Canelo not going to fight you because you don't have nothing that Canelo won't. Your name ain't good enough for him.
I mean, yeah, that's what it's looking like because Jamal Charlo had made the attempt already at 160 pounds because, you know, he was the IBF champ at 154. Then when he moved up to 160, his fight was against a guy, George Sebastian Heelan, who was ranked number one in the WBC. So when he fought Heelan and beat him, like he was the one that said, hey, I'm the top guy for the WBC at 160. So when Canelo beat Golovkin in that second fight, that's when, you know, Charlo pushed to fight Canelo. And they were like, no, we're going to make Canelo franchise champ and then award you this WBC title. And so Canelo moves up to 168. Even if, you know, Charlo moves up to 168, he just doesn't have enough, you know, to, I guess, get enough interest from Canelo to, you know, fight him, even though like a lot of people are kind of growing to say like Charlo may be the guy that could really beat Canelo from, you know, 168, 160. But outside of that, he really doesn't have enough appeal to garner, you know, the attention for Canelo to fight him, at least not yet.
I think Jamal too one-dimensional. He too one-dimensional. He don't got depth. I think his brother has more dimensions than him. You know, he got better feet. He got better punch selection. I think Jamal is just a brute. Big guy. He hit hard. Hands is heavy. Don't get Jamal fucked up. Them hands is heavy. And he got some decent speed. So don't think he can't hurt you. I'm not saying that the man can't hurt you. He can't get you out of there. And if he catch Canelo, it's going to be good night, Irene. I am not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that Canelo will wait for Jamal to overcommit and just let his hands go. And I think what Canelo would do to Jamal is take him into deep waters, make him tire himself out, because it takes more energy out of you when you throw shots and you miss than just throwing. For some reason, you throwing punches and you're missing, that just takes so much out of you. And it does something to you mentally too, because now you already physically fatigued because I'm not hitting this dude. But now I'm getting mentally fatigued because I'm not hitting this dude and I want to hit him. So that could cause a little frustration. And I see Canelo frustrating Jamal. And I don't think these guys, both Jamel and Jamal, are mentally sound enough to deal with somebody who can outthink them in the ring. That's what I'm a little worried about with the Charlo brothers. I really think that somebody with decent IQ would get them. And I also say that because of the Cornball fight, but at the same time, Jamal looked a lot better than he did in the Cornball fight. He looked like he learned from the mistakes that he made in that fight, and he looks a lot better. But he shows me still that if you can get to him, meaning if you're making him miss shots that he's so used to landing, you can frustrate him. And if he's getting fatigued and frustrated, you can get him. And I think Canelo is, and Benavidez, I think Canelo, Benavidez, and Khalid Plant are the only three fighters that in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree, that could actually exploit that weakness in Jamal Charlo.
Maybe Andre could, but you know, those three definitely. Yeah, that Cornball fight, man. I think I saw like somebody post up some highlights of that fight, and you know, seeing Charlo getting caught because he can be one-dimensional, and you can set him up with some shots. If you set him up with feints, then he could get caught. So he does have to work on that. And if he does move up to 168 and Benavidez is still there, that would be a definitely good fight.
I think. What do you think, Jalek? What do you think?
I think Andrade has the best chance. I already got Andrade beating Canelo. I think he'd chop Charlo up. Yeah, Charlo. One thing he's real resilient, and he has a good jab, and he got real good stamina, and he won't give in or give up. I think his confidence was shook from that Korobov fight because most people thought he lost. Now that's coming from a southpaw. We already know he turned down the Andrade fight. He didn't want that fight to happen. Andrade is a southpaw to move around, so he has to set his feet. And one thing about Charlo, he's more like a counter puncher. So to beat Canelo, in sense, if you're not going to be moving around the ring, you at least got to try to push him back. Homeboy don't really push you back until he got you hurt, and he's usually a good finisher. But I got Canelo winning that fight, unanimous decision against Jamal Charlo, because Homeboy won a lot of rounds, believe it or not. Derenchenko actually, even though his face looked chopped.
Said he was tough. Yeah, he even said after the fight that motherfucker was tough, man. That man was tough.
Yeah, Korobov, yeah. It don't matter if you're a late replacement. He a lot of people thought that doesn't matter. I mean, if you're on a world class level, then
yeah, you're supposed to beat the guy that's in front of you. It don't matter if you beat the guy in front of you.
You still almost lost, or a lot of people thought you lost.
Because it's one thing. I mean, you got to think, because he was supposed to fight Willie Monroe Jr. and Willie Monroe Jr. didn't show up, and then Korobov come in, and he comes in preparing for Willie Monroe Jr. and then Korobov comes in and shows you like, I'm not Willie Monroe, and then he's like, oh shit, wait, it's not Willie Monroe. This dude can box, he can move. Oh shit, and I think he looked at Korobov and saw this old dude. What this old motherfucker gonna do? And I think he went in there underestimating his opponent, just like Jermell went in there underestimated Tony Harrison. And arguably they both lost that night. But Jamal did come out with the dub, regardless of the fact, because I don't think they was going to allow both the Charlo brothers to lose on their event, because that was their first event, and I don't think they was going to let that happen.
Exactly.
That wasn't going to go down at all, for real. Canelo versus Derenchenko is a good strap, but I think Derenchenko they ain't gonna have it. I think Canelo gonna do the same thing to Derenchenko that he did to Callum Smith. He's gonna move his head, a lot of waist movement, and fucking body work all day long. Hard counters, hard body shots. Derenchenko is probably gonna end up getting stopped, or just getting pummeled for 12 rounds. So, and Derenchenko she likes to throw. He likes to be the aggressor. He likes to throw combinations. He likes to put his punches together. And a fighter like Canelo, he's a counter puncher. He just gonna sit there and wait for you to do all that shit so he can counter you.
I forgot to mention David Benavidez too, because he definitely got a chance to beat Canelo, because he actually boxed better than people give him credit for, and he also throwing combinations. And if he come in good shape, and then he also big. I think he like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah, Benavidez big. He big,
rangy. So that's a very tough fight, because if he try to just and he's gonna throw his hands unless he just get in there like Kovalev and Calum. I doubt it. I think he gonna throw his hands. He's younger, and it's make or break. So that fight right there, I think those two got the best chance of beating him is Benavidez and Andrade, because David Benavidez got skill, but we don't know like his problems making weight and all these things that goes on in boxing is crazy.
Yeah, that upset me, man. That's the number one discipline, man, that you gotta have. You gotta stay on your weight, man. If you got an eating problem, or you smoke, drink, whatever it is, as a professional athlete, you gotta have that under wraps. What's up, Mr. Transfer? I see you. You gotta have that under wraps. You gotta be disciplined. Even Tank, after he fought Leo Santa Cruz, I've never seen Tank after any fight go right back to the gym that day or the next day and get to train. I've never seen that from Tank. And after he went through hellfire and brimstone with Leo Santa Cruz, what did you see Tank do the very next day? He was in the gym, black eye, all the shit. Because I promise you, they was telling him, bro, you was taking too much punishment. You shouldn't have been taking that shit. You need to work on your game. You need to get your defense up, all the shit. And I think that is what made him go back to the drawing board was that right there. Period, point blank. But I gotta get up out of here, fellas. It's getting late. It's almost nap time, and I'm hungry. I want to give me something to eat. And I had a great time with y'all. Thank you, Jalik, for coming through, bro. I appreciate you. Boxing Source, I wish you would have came in sooner, you know, but I don't know what your schedule is like. You already know you always welcome to slide through, just like I come through on your shit, you know what I'm saying? And if y'all haven't, because both these two guys are YouTubers, if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to the Boxing Source and go subscribe to my man Jalik the Leader. These are my brothers from another mother, if there is no other. And any closing thoughts before we get up out of here, Jalik?
I appreciate you having me on, bro. It was good to chop it up boxing. You know, I said I love to kick it with boxing. Yeah, Ryan Garcia. I can't think of another U.S. pay-per-view that's bigger than that. And boxing is a business. I'm a diehard, but I actually understand the business. And to be honest with you, they are very exciting to watch. And it's not going to go the distance. A lot of people keep saying the small guys can't fight, but these guys is knocking people out like heavyweight. So we'll see. And it's also going to have an indirect effect for other fighters. It's going to make them look, because these guys got egos. They ain't going to get no attention. People going to stop talking about them and go, man, let me make this fight. Watch. So I think it's good for boxing.
Source, closing thoughts before we get up out of here, man.
Oh man, I just jumped in to chop it up with you, man. PCL, UDT3 Angelic, the Leader. Just had like some snack myself, so I feel you on what you're saying. The thing with Ryan Garcia and Tang, that basically is the ingredients to making a very successful pay-per-view if they do make it. It's something where it's close to a 50-50 fight. There's, large following with either one or both fighters. And I just, see it as a very marketable fight, on multiple fronts. And so if it does happen this year, then maybe it will be by December if, both fighters do have a fight in the interim, because I think they do have time to have one fight in between. If that fight does happen, then it's going to definitely get the buzz and probably be the, most successful pay-per-view fight of the year. Right.
I will ask you this, Source, because I didn't get to ask you this and I didn't get your take on it before you get up out of here. We all heard Leonard Ellaby, me, Jalik, and the whole chat heard Leonard Ellaby say, if you don't want to make a fight happen, you talk about it. That's the best way to not make a fight happen, is to talk about it. What do you think about that statement right there from Leonard Ellaby?
That, to me, that's true, because a lot of times, and we've kind of heard it over the past year, when you hear about either one guy or another guy talking about a potential fight against an opponent, and they talk it up and they talk it up and they talk it up, they build that interest for that fight, but then they end up not having that fight. Case in point, last year, we were talking about the thing with Gary Russell Jr. When Devin Haney was talking about fighting Gary Russell Jr., that got a lot of buzz over the course of the year. But he ended up fighting Yuriorkis Gamboa because no one was really talking about Devin Haney fighting Yuriorkis Gamboa out in the public. So you kind of get what Leonard Ellaby is saying in that aspect. And I think a lot of guys within his field, whether it's, promoter or advisor or anything like that, they'll say the same thing. They'll be like, most of the fights, or pretty much all of the fights that happen, they happen behind closed doors. They don't publicize it until it's pretty much close to announcing that fight is going to happen. And it's already signed behind closed doors before they even make the announcement. So I kind of feel what Leonard Ellaby is saying there.
Hey, nothing wrong with an unbiased, open opinion. I would like to thank Boxing Source for coming on the panel. I want to thank my brothers Jalik the Leader and Boxing Source for sliding on and sharing their boxing knowledge with us today, man. And thank everybody in the chat for sliding through. And, man, God bless. And may everybody have a blessed day, man. We out. 100.